guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you're new. If you're new here, my name is Kaylee, and it's nice to meet you. How you doing? Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the time that I was diagnosed with my blood disorder. Most people who know me know that I have some sort of health issue, but probably not everyone knows that it's a blood disorder. I have a blood disorder called immune thrombocytopenic purpura. I know it's a mouthful, so most people just call it ITP. But yeah, this is going to be about the time that I was diagnosed way back when, 7 years ago, with ITP. In 2012, summer of 2012, I was in a summer camp, the same summer camp that I work at now. Hey guys, what's up? Still love ya. I've been there since they opened. I've been there since I was 9 years old. I was in a show at the summer camp, and the show was Legally Blonde, and we had a jump rope number called Whipped Into Shape, if you know the show. But we had a jump rope number, and I started getting really bad bruises, but we kind of just assumed that they were from the jump ropes because we were using pretty thick plastic, like exercise jump rope, so when they like hit you, it would like leave like a welt for a little bit, but they weren't welts, they were like very clearly bruises, but we just kind of assumed it was from the jump roping. And I also remember that I was very winded. Now, I was an active kid. I did soccer, I did softball, I was in shows, so I was doing like choreography type stuff. Wasn't good at it, but I was in them. But I was like an active kid. It wasn't like I like watched TV all the time to have an excuse to be really out of shape. So I remember this summer specifically, I felt very out of shape. I felt very winded all the time. When we would do the jump rope thing, I would feel like I was having like an asthma attack, but I wasn't diagnosed with asthma at this point. I am now, looks good. But I wasn't diagnosed with asthma at this point, so we didn't really know what was up. We just knew like it was kind of weird. But again, we just kind of chalked it up to like, you know, it's the summer, it's hot, I have the bruises from the jump ropes type thing. So one of the show nights, I believe it was the Saturday night show, so it was like the Saturday 7 p.m. type show. I went in and I just didn't feel good, but I'm very much the type of person that just kind of like pushes through not feeling well. But I went in and I didn't feel well, and I remember my friend Katie, who's still one of my best friends. Let's say, hey Katie, what's up? She was there, and she's older than me. She's, I think, like 6 years older than me. But she, I believe, was working there at the time, or maybe it was like her last year as a camper. But I remember her saying something along the lines of like, Kayla, you don't look good. And mind you, she's known me since I was 9, so she knows when I don't look like myself. And I remember her saying, Kayla, you don't look good. And I called my mom and I was like, you know, like I don't feel really good. And she was like, I think you're just getting in your head, like maybe you're just anxious, you're nervous, whatever. And this was before I was diagnosed with anxiety, but I had been dealing with anxiety for a really long time. I've had anxiety for as long as I can remember. So we like kind of knew that it was like a thing, but I had never been formally diagnosed at this point. So we just kind of thought I was like nervous and anxious about the show for whatever reason, which was not very common for me. Like I'd been doing theater since I was 9, and so I'd been doing it for 4-ish years at that point. So I didn't think it was nerves, but I was like, you know, mom knows best. Love you, mom. So she brought me food, and I like remember eating, and I just remember it wouldn't go away. And I had what I thought at the time was a panic attack, but later found that my body was quite literally shutting down. But I thought it was a panic attack, and I was hyperventilating. My legs turned purple, which was like the scariest part. And I just remember my director, who's now my boss, hi Allie, I love you, she came in and she was like, look, like you need to go home, like I don't want you pushing yourself, like something's definitely wrong. So I went home and I was okay, like I was fine, I like passed. So I did the show the next day, and after that camp was over. So after camp was over, the bruises that we had previously thought were from the jump ropes kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, and were just spreading everywhere. And so we were like, that's a little weird. And like I was aware of it, but I was 13 at the time, so I was like, I don't know, like maybe about like I don't know, whatever. I was a kid, I didn't care. So my mom works at my naturopath, and she had mentioned to my doctor, like, you know, Kaylee has these really big bruises and they're not going away and they're kind of getting bigger. When I'm saying they were getting bigger, like they were like the size of like a softball type big, and they were like on my legs, on my back, on my like shoulders and my arms and stuff. They were everywhere. And so my doctor said, I really want you to go get blood work. Like, it's urgent that we get blood work. So I got blood work. I remember they took 8 vials of blood, which like now is nothing, but then I was like, oh my god, I thought I was gonna pass out. It was really scary. But it was fine. You know, they took the blood, it was fine. After that, it was like the next day. I remember I was on Skype with 2 of my friends and we were playing Just Dance. So like we each had the Wii in our own house, but we were like playing together type thing. And I remember my mom called and was like, what are you up to? Like, whatever. I told her I was playing Just Dance on Skype with my friends. She was like, okay, cool. You know, unbeknownst to me, right after this phone call with my mom, one of the doctors at the office that my mom works at received a phone call from Quest, which is where I got the blood work done, and they said it was urgent. Now, my doctor wasn't in that day, I don't think, or like she was with a patient or something, and like the nurse on the other end from the place that I got the blood work done was like, no, like we need to like address this now, like this is very serious type situation. And so the other doctor, who wasn't like my primary doctor at the place, but I've seen her before too, she like said to my mom, like, what is Kaylee doing? And my mom said, you know, she's playing Just Dance. And she was like, no, she can't. Like, that's not a good idea. You need to tell her to stop. You need to bring her to the emergency room. So my mom calls my grandmother, who lives with me, my Mimi. Hey Mimi, what's good? She calls Mimi and she was like, tell Kaylee to stop, go get her dressed. We need to go to the emergency room. Please don't tell her to break her. So we go to the hospital, and I don't even remember like sitting in the emergency room. I remember being like in the like room before they admitted me, but like I don't remember too much. I remember like they didn't close my windows at first, so I kept seeing like some scary stuff that I don't even like wanted like to talk about really. But yeah, so they gave me an IV. They were like doing 1,000,001 tests, and my dad met us there. And yeah, so then they ended up admitting me. Now at this point, I was kind of freaked out because the only other person who was like kind of my age, who was actually younger than me, but like a kid who had gone to the hospital, it was the same hospital that they brought me to, had leukemia. So in my head, I was like, I have leukemia, like whatever. And like that was actually a concern of theirs, that it could be something that had to do with something like that. So we were doing 1,000,001 tests. They ended up admitting me. We got upstairs to the room that they admitted me in, and I remember them telling my parents she has very, 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 very low platelets. Now, if you don't know, you likely, not many people do, but platelets they help your blood clot, is an easy way of explaining it. So a normal person has between 150,000 to 400,000 platelets in their blood, and I at this point had 11,000. So it was like super, super, super dangerously low. I remember they gave me a transfusion, and it was like all throughout the night. I woke up and a bunch of doctors, there was probably like 8 to 10 doctors at the foot of my bed, and they basically said, you have ITP. And at this point, my mom and I didn't know what it was, or my dad was there too. I'm not leaving my dad out. Hi Dad, love you. But we didn't know what it was, and it was really scary, but it wasn't leukemia, which was good. And I just remember I had a really, like, we went home, they let me go home that day after the transfusion, and I had a really, really bad reaction to the transfusion. Now, they told us I was gonna possibly have like a bad headache or some nausea, but like nothing super serious. But I had like the worst pain in my head of my entire life. Like it was the most excruciating pain I've ever experienced. Like in my head, I couldn't close my eyes, I couldn't open my eyes, I couldn't walk, I couldn't move. The lights couldn't be on, the lights couldn't be off. Like I literally was like a freaking vegetable, and I had like throbbing pain in my head. So what ended up happening is they told my mom that I basically had medically induced meningitis. Now meningitis is a like very serious illness, but because of the transfusion, somehow it caused me to have medically induced meningitis. So that happened, and then we went back like a week later and my platelets had dropped again. So update, almost 7 years later, I am still dealing with it. It's not something that they think will ever really, really go away, and if it goes away, it may or may not come back. They don't really know that I'll ever fully reach remission. It's not something that is like this big hoopla in my life. I am okay. There's nothing of great concern at this point. I'm not being treated in any way. They just kind of we just, you know, kind of watch them. I am not being treated. I don't have any transfusions. I don't take any medication. Options that they've given me are prednisone. If they drop really low, I can get the same transfusion I got last time. They could remove my spleen, but again, like, I would much rather just deal with the blood disorder that I've had for 7 years now. I've just learned how to cope with it, and so the symptoms and the side effects of the medication that they've offered and have said, like, well, you could if you wanted to, but we're not going to force it on you, seem worse to me than just dealing with the blood disorder itself. So now, back to numbers. My platelets like to kind of do one of these. They don't like to stay stagnant very much. What usually, and what's kind of been happening for the past 5-ish years, in the beginning it was kind of like a very slow incline of platelets, which was good and very hopeful in terms of like remission. And like at this point, I don't really care if I get to remission or not. Like, that sounds bad, but it's just something that I deal with. It's not that big of a deal in my life. There's definitely more people with the same blood disorder that, like, it's so scary. There's people that have passed away from it, and I have a very, like, I'm very, very fortunate with the symptoms and the case that I have. So again, basically my platelets like to do this thing where they'll go up to like 60,000 and stick there for a few months and then drop back down to 40,000, and then they'll go up to 80,000 and then they'll drop back down. And it's just kind of one of these things all the time. Again, it's something that my doctors have said I'm probably going to deal with for a really long time, if not forever. So I'm good. Everything's good. My biggest like symptom, I guess you could say, of my blood disorder is like fatigue, and it definitely like messes with my anxiety sometimes, but fatigue is definitely like the biggest symptom. I also get really, like, I get sick very, very, very easily, which kind of sucks, but again, that just kind of goes with an autoimmune disorder. Hey guys, so I'm watching this video back and like starting to edit it and stuff, and I realized that I didn't really talk about like the blood aspect of this blood disorder. So real quick, symptoms that I have in terms of like the actual bleeding part of the disorder: I get bruises all the time. Again, I have petechiae, which are like little pinpoint bruises, and you know, like if I get like a cut, like I bleed for a little bit longer. I get nosebleeds sometimes. I've had some really scary ones that last like a couple hours. That can be like really, really bad. But besides that, like, I don't have internal bleeding. I don't have any head like bleeding or anything like that, which is like really good. So in terms of like the blood part of the disorder, I'm like definitely like very much used to it, and it's nothing that's really a big deal in my life. So yeah, back to the video. Sorry, I just realized I didn't really talk about the blood part very much. I also just realized, sorry, I'm back again, like this is a really bad angle. Okay, we'll go here. I also just realized that I didn't really talk about what causes the blood disorder. So there's not really any specific cause. It's kind of a case-by-case situation, but they don't really know what caused mine. Some things that we think causes them to dip a little bit more, and like is I don't know how to explain it, but like when I'm like super stressed, or my anxiety is super bad, or I'm not really taking care of myself, we tend to see that my numbers dip. When I'm sick, we see that my numbers dip. So it's just like when I'm not doing well, my platelets tend to not be doing well either. That's about the time I got diagnosed with my blood disorder. If you want some more information on ITP and, you know, other things to do with it, I'll link some resources below so that you can read a little bit up on it. So about a year ago, I made these t-shirts for ITP, and some of the proceeds from these t-shirts went to one of the PDSA organizations, which, PDSA, is that what it is? I don't remember the name of it now. Oh god, that's not good. One of the ITP organizations, basically, that helps with research and all that fun stuff. So if you're interested in me rebooting those shirts, I can definitely like whip something up and get those out to you guys so that you can buy them if you would like. It would be like a week-long thing that you can get them for a week, and then afterwards you can't buy them anymore. But let me know if you guys are interested in that. So if you're interested in seeing some more videos from me, be sure to subscribe and ring the little notification bell down below to get notified when I post. Be sure to give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and comment down below if you have any questions about my blood disorder or anything like that. And also let me know if you have any videos that you want to see. I would definitely be interested in doing some videos that you guys would be more interested in seeing as well. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week. Bye!